People always say you never really know someone until they show you their true colors. Well, I thought I knew my husband. Turns out I was so wrong. I still remember the exact day it happened. It was a Friday afternoon in late September in Dallas, Texas. The sky was clear, the air smelled like fall, and I had just picked up a pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks on Main Street before heading home. Everything felt so normal. But that normal day flipped my whole life upside down. Because that was the day my husband walked out on me. No warning. No explanation. Just a suitcase, a bitter look, and the sound of the front door slamming shut. And the messed up part? That was only the beginning of the story. What happened after? Honestly, it's unbelievable. If you're watching this video, please drop a comment and tell me where you're from. Also, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss how this story ends. Because trust me, it's wild. Okay, so let me back up a little bit. You can't really understand why what happened hit me so hard unless you know how our story began. My name is Claire. I met Mark. That's my husband's name. Back in 2011. I was 24 at the time, living in Houston, Texas, and working part-time at Target while finishing my degree at the University of Houston. He was a couple of years older, 27, already working full-time as an IT guy at a small company downtown. We didn't meet in some magical movie-like way. Honestly, it was kind of random. My roommate dragged me to this barbecue in Memorial Park one Saturday. I didn't even want to go. I remember saying, I'd rather stay home and watch Grey's Anatomy reruns, but she convinced me. And thank God she did, because that's where I met him. Mark wasn't the loudest guy there. He wasn't showing off, he wasn't the center of attention. He was just standing by the grill talking with a couple of friends, drinking a Bud Light. I noticed he had this kind of calm energy. And when he smiled at me, it was warm, genuine. Not forced. Not fake. We started talking and, well, the conversation just flowed. We talked about college football. He was a huge Texas Longhorns fan while my family rooted for the Aggies, so we joked about being rivals. We laughed about bad cafeteria food. And when I mentioned that I loved Whataburger fries dipped in milkshakes, he didn't judge me. He said he did the exact same thing. That felt like a green flag. After that barbecue, he asked for my number. Our first date was at Chili's off Westheimer Road. Super casual. He ordered fajitas, I got chicken crispers. We sat there for hours just talking, and I remember thinking, wow, this could actually be something real. Fast forward a year, we were basically inseparable. We moved in together into this small apartment near Midtown Houston. It wasn't fancy, the walls were thin, the neighbors were loud, and the air conditioner broke at least twice a summer. But we were happy. Or at least I thought we were. Mark was the type of guy who'd bring me Starbucks when I had exams. He'd leave little post-it notes on the fridge saying things like, good luck today, or love you, babe. He'd drive me to H-E-B when I didn't have my car. Honestly, he was that supportive boyfriend everyone tells you to hold on to. We got married in 2014. Small wedding, maybe 60 people at a little church in Houston Heights. Nothing over the top. My mom baked the cake. His cousin DJ'd the reception. People danced to 90s throwbacks, and it was cheesy, but it was ours. After the wedding, life started to feel more serious. I graduated, got my first real job in marketing at a small firm. Mark was climbing the ladder in IT. We saved up, and in 2016 we bought a house in the suburbs of Dallas. A 3-bedroom in Plano near Coit Road. Mortgage, yard work, neighbors who waved when you drove by, the whole suburban package. On the outside, it probably looked like we had the dream life. 2 careers, a home, a dog. We adopted a golden retriever named Max from the SPCA, and a marriage that seemed stable. People used to say to me, you two are perfect together. But here's the thing, perfection is a lie. Looking back, the cracks started showing earlier than I wanted to admit. Mark worked long hours, and when he came home he was often drained. I was stressed from my job, trying to prove myself, sometimes working weekends too. Instead of leaning on each other, we started pulling apart without realizing it. I'd plan little date nights and he'd say, sorry babe, I'm exhausted. Or we'd sit on the couch together and he'd be scrolling on his phone while I was watching Netflix, and we'd barely talk. I remember once in 2018 I asked him, do you even notice me anymore? And he laughed it off, saying, of course, don't be silly. It wasn't just the distance. There were fights too. Money stress when the AC broke again. Arguments about chores, like how I'd end up doing the laundry and dishes more often. Petty things, but they piled up. Still, every time we argued, I told myself it was normal. Every couple fights. Every marriage goes through ups and downs. right? But little did I know, all of that was just the beginning of something much darker. And honestly, if I'd paid closer attention back then, maybe I would have seen the signs of what was coming. Life has this way of looking perfect on Instagram but being a total wreck behind closed doors. And my marriage, it was falling apart piece by piece. At first, it wasn't like I woke up one day and thought, wow, Mark doesn't love me anymore. No, it was slower than that. More like tiny cracks that spread until the whole thing finally breaks. The first real crack was his hours at work. Early 2019, he started leaving the house earlier and coming home later. Big project, he'd say. Lots of deadlines. I wanted to believe him. I did believe him at first. But then weird things started happening. Like one Tuesday night, Max, our golden retriever, threw up all over the rug in the living room. I freaked out. It was everywhere, smelled awful, and of course I was out of carpet cleaner. So I called Mark, thinking maybe he could swing by Walmart on his way home. He didn't answer. I called again. No answer. Tried a third time. Straight to voicemail. Finally, an hour later, he texted, "Sorry, in a meeting." At 9:30 p.m.? A meeting? Come on. But I didn't push it. I told myself, okay, maybe that's how his job works now. But honestly, it started happening all the time. He'd walk in the door looking drained, drop his bag by the couch and go straight to the shower without even saying hi. Dinner? He'd pick at it. Conversation? Forget it. His phone was the biggest red flag. It was always face down. Always buzzing. Once while we were watching Stranger Things on Netflix, it buzzed 3 times in a row. I said, "Wow, your boss must really need you, huh?" And he just gave me this weird half smile and said, "Yeah. Work never ends." Then he shoved it in his pocket. You guys ever get that gut feeling where something feels off but you don't want to admit it? That was me. By summer, the distance was impossible to ignore. We barely touched each other. We weren't intimate. We didn't even laugh together anymore. I'd find excuses to leave the house, walking Max around the block, grabbing an iced coffee from Starbucks on Coit Road, wandering aimlessly through Target just to kill time. It felt easier than sitting in silence with my own husband. Then came our 5-year anniversary. July 12, 2019. I had planned this little getaway to Galveston. Airbnb by the beach, seafood dinners, maybe a walk along Pleasure Pier at sunset. Nothing crazy, just us reconnecting. I was so excited when I told him. I even printed out the Airbnb listing and put it in an envelope with a cheesy note that said, "Pack your bags, babe." He didn't even look up from his phone when I handed it to him. "I don't think I can do that weekend," he said flatly. "Big launch at work." I just stared at him. "Mark, it's our anniversary. 5 years. We should celebrate at least one day." And he sighed. Actually sighed like I was bothering him. "You're overreacting. It's just a date. We can do something later." That cut deep. Come on. Just a date? Our wedding day. So yeah, we didn't go to Galveston. Instead, I spent that weekend alone on the couch, binging The Office reruns, eating lo mein from the Chinese takeout spot down the street and scrolling Instagram. Bitter disappointment doesn't even begin to cover how I felt watching other couples post their cute 5 years and forever to go captions. The fights after that, they got uglier. Labor Day weekend we had a huge blow-up about money. I'd opened the credit card bill and nearly dropped it. $2,000 gone. Some kind of tech equipment. No warning, no discussion. I confronted him. "You can't just spend $2,000 without telling me, Mark." He shot back, "It's my money too. Why do I need your permission?" I was furious. As we're supposed to be a team. That's how marriage works. He slammed his laptop shut and said, "God, you're so controlling." That night, I cried myself to sleep in the bedroom while he camped out on the couch. Even Max wouldn't leave my side. That dog knew I was wrecked. And from there it just spiraled. Halloween came and went. Usually we'd carve pumpkins together, hand out candy, maybe watch a scary movie. That year he claimed he had to work late, so I sat on the porch by myself handing out Reese's and Kit Kats to neighborhood kids. Parents kept asking, "Where's Mark tonight?" And I had to fake a smile and say, "Busy with work." Inside I was dying. Then one Friday night in late October, everything shifted. I was scrolling Facebook when a picture popped up in my suggested feed. And my heart just stopped. It was Mark. I knew it was him. Same blue button-down shirt he wore all the time, same grin, same posture. But he wasn't alone. He was standing next to this woman I didn't recognize. brunette, maybe mid-20s, smiling like she didn't have a care in the world. And the kicker? The picture was tagged at a bar in downtown Dallas. That same night he told me he was working late. I sat there staring at my phone, zooming in like a detective. It was him. No doubt. When he finally came home, I asked casually, "So, how was work?" He dropped his bag and said, "Long. I'm exhausted." I looked at him, searching his face for any crack. "Where exactly were you?" He didn't flinch. "At the office." "Why?" I wanted to scream, "You liar. I saw you on Facebook with some random girl." But I didn't. Instead I swallowed it. "Oh, nothing. Just wondering." And in that moment I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront him until I had proof. Solid proof. So I started paying closer attention. He guarded his phone like it was gold. Took it with him everywhere. Bathroom, shower, even outside to take out the trash. His late nights got more frequent. He started dressing nicer for work. Button-downs ironed, hair gelled, even cologne. When normally he'd roll into the office in a polo and khakis. Something was up. I just didn't know what yet. Around Thanksgiving my suspicions boiled over. We were at his mom's house in Fort Worth, eating turkey and green bean casserole. Everyone was laughing watching the Cowboys game. And there was Mark sneaking off to the back porch every 15 minutes, glued to his phone. I followed him once. Opened the sliding door and said, "Who are you texting?" He jumped like I'd caught him stealing. "Work," he stammered. "Just work." I stared at him. "On Thanksgiving? Really?" He avoided my eyes. "You wouldn't get it." Then he walked past me back inside. That was the moment my gut told me the truth. He was hiding something. And honestly, it still makes me sick remembering how much I doubted myself back then. How many nights I lay awake staring at the ceiling asking, "Am I crazy? Am I imagining this?" But I wasn't crazy. Because the truth was worse than I could have ever imagined. You know that saying, "What's done in the dark will always come to light"? Well, turns out it's true. And the night I finally uncovered the truth about Mark, that memory is burned into my brain forever. It was early December, right before Christmas. Dallas gets cold, but not crazy cold like New York or Chicago. Just chilly enough that you need a jacket. I remember driving home from work, Christmas lights twinkling in the neighborhood, car radios blasting Mariah Carey, and everyone buzzing about holiday plans. Families, love, togetherness. Me. My marriage was crumbling and I didn't even know the half of it yet. That night Mark said he had to work late again. Another end-of-year deadline. By then my radar was on high alert. Every excuse sounded fake. Every sigh, every shrug, every late-night meeting felt like nails on a chalkboard. So when he left the house around 6 p.m. I waited. I sat there on the couch with Max just staring at the front door. My heart was racing. My hands were literally shaking. I don't know what came over me, but I grabbed my keys, got in my car and decided to follow him. I felt like some undercover detective in a Lifetime movie. My heart was pounding so hard I thought he'd hear it from his car. He drove toward downtown Dallas, past the tollway into an area with bars, restaurants, and hotels. Not his office. Not even close. He pulled into the parking lot of a Hilton Garden Inn. My stomach dropped. I parked a few rows away, gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. I told myself, maybe he's meeting a client here. Maybe it's work-related. But then I saw it. He got out of the car, straightened his jacket, checked his phone, and walked toward the entrance. And then she appeared. The same brunette from that Facebook photo. They hugged. Not just a casual hug either. The kind that lingers. The kind that screams, "This is not work." I swear I couldn't breathe. My chest felt heavy, my eyes burned, but I couldn't look away. I sat there for 10 minutes, maybe more, frozen, watching them walk into that hotel together. My mind was racing. Do I go in? Do I confront him right here? Do I take pictures? Finally, I pulled out my phone. Hands shaking, I snapped a few photos from the car. Blurry but clear enough. Proof. I drove home in silence. No music, no radio, nothing. Just my thoughts, loud and sickening. When Mark finally stumbled in at 11:30 p.m., smelling faintly of cologne and something else I couldn't place, I was sitting on the couch, waiting. He froze when he saw me. "You're still up." I stared at him. "Yeah. Long night at the office." He avoided my eyes. "Yeah, super long. We're slammed." That's when I pulled out my phone and turned the screen toward him. The photo. Him. Her. It was clear. It was vivid. 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 It The hotel. His face went pale. Like all the blood drained out at once. He opened his mouth but nothing came out. I said quietly, "Who is she, Mark?" He stammered, "It's not what it looks like." I laughed. Not because it was funny but because it was so pathetic. Not what it looks like. You walked into a hotel with her. At night. On our mortgage. On our anniversary. On my sanity. And you're gonna tell me it's not what it looks like. He started pacing, running his hands through his hair. You don't understand. Things have been messed up. I didn't mean for this to happen. I stood up. My hands were shaking but my voice came out steady. How long? Silence. How long, Mark? I repeated louder. Finally he whispered, "A few months." A few months. My knees almost buckled. I said, "So while I was planning our anniversary trip, while I was sitting alone on Halloween, while I was crying on Thanksgiving, you were with her." He didn't deny it. Just stared at the floor. And here's the part that still makes me sick. He actually had the nerve to say, "She makes me feel alive again." Alive. Like I was some dead weight holding him down. I lost it. I shouted, "Alive? You're married. You stood in front of our families, in front of God, and promised to love me. And now you're sneaking around hotels saying some random woman makes you feel alive." He tried to reach for me. "Please, just listen." I jerked away. "Don't touch me." Max started barking like he could feel the chaos. My whole world was collapsing in that living room. That night, Mark slept on the couch. I didn't close my eyes once. I sat in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying everything in my head. The lies. The missed calls. The Facebook photo. The hotel. All of it. And that's when I realized, this wasn't just a rough patch. This wasn't stress. This was betrayal. Plain and simple. The next morning he tried to talk. Tried to explain. Said things like, "I didn't mean to hurt you, and it just happened." I cut him off. People don't just fall into hotel rooms, Mark. He begged me not to tell his family. Said it would destroy him. I just stared at him and said, "You already destroyed us." And here's the kicker, he still went to work like nothing happened. Put on his tie, grabbed his coffee and walked out the door. Meanwhile, I sat there in our house, surrounded by Christmas decorations we'd put up together, staring at the life we built and wondering how it all fell apart. That was the night I finally discovered the truth. And trust me, it was worse than anything I had imagined. And that night, sitting there in a house full of Christmas lights and broken promises, I realized my marriage was no longer mine to save. But what happened next? Well, that part of the story is even more unbelievable. I'll share it with you tomorrow, so make sure you're subscribed and have notifications on. Trust me, you won't want to miss how this all unfolds.